State licensing boards act as the gatekeepers for dozens of professions. They dictate exactly who can legally enter the workforce and under what conditions. In the Commonwealth of Kentucky, an aspiring cosmetologist is required by the state board to complete 1,500 instructional hours before they are legally permitted to cut and style hair. This chart compares the state's training requirements. An EMT basic requires about 150 hours of training to perform life-saving medical interventions. A cosmetologist must spend 10 times that amount of time in school. This massive hour requirement creates an 8 to 12-month window of economic dormancy for adult learners. During this period, students cannot work full-time, yet they incur tuition debts reaching up to $25,000. Bypassing income for almost a year is impossible for many low-income and immigrant populations. The requirement effectively locks them out of the profession, creating an artificial shortage of skilled workers for salon owners. The majority of these 1,500 hours are not spent studying chemical safety or infection control. Instead, students spend hundreds of hours performing repetitive styling tasks on paying clients, while the school keeps the revenue. The student receives zero wages. State licensing authority exists specifically to protect public health. By mandating thousands of hours of unpaid technical practice, the state has expanded its power past public safety and into mandatory, predatory vocational instruction. State boards are now facing a severe threat from federal agencies. Two separate pillars of federal law are actively dismantling the traditional beauty school model. First is the financial collapse. Traditional schools rely heavily on federal Title IV student aid. Under new financial value transparency regulations, these programs are failing federal benchmarks because their graduates hold debt loads that far exceed their actual earnings. Second is the legal collapse. The Fair Labor Standards Act mandates that anyone performing productive work for a for-profit entity must be paid a wage. Schools that operate commercial clinics using uncompensated student labor are navigating an extreme legal gray zone. They carry massive compounding liabilities for potential back wages and federal penalties. These two federal pressures are making the traditional school model both legally and financially unstable. The industry is currently at a crossroads where the current method of training is no longer compatible with federal law. On a standard beauty school clinic floor, students act as the primary labor force, turning out high volumes of services for paying customers. This 7-factor primary beneficiary test determines if a student is an employee. Schools argue clinical work is shielded by education. This fails when students displace paid workers by doing basic cleanup, or when performing mastered repetitive tasks for months becomes unpaid commercial labor. If the school profits from a student executing a mastered technique, the school derives an immediate advantage. Under the economic reality test, that student is an employee and is legally owed the minimum wage. Federal labor law is supreme over state mandates. A 1,500-hour requirement offers no legal protection if the economic reality proves the final 1,000 hours are unpaid, productive work for the school's financial benefit. To correct this regulatory overreach, we start at the state level. State governments operate under the legal principle of police power. This means their authority to mandate occupational licensing is strictly limited to protecting the public's health and safety. The beauty industry presents genuine physical threats to the public. Professionals regularly handle bloodborne pathogens, severe MRSA infection risks, and high pH chemical relaxers that can cause severe skin burns. Phase 1 of a redesigned policy framework caps pre-licensure training at 150 to 300 hours. Stripped of technical styling, the curriculum focuses solely on scientific foundations, OSHA compliance, infection control protocols, and chemical hazard communication. Because these are clinical, environmental risks, oversight must be moved away from industry-captured cosmetology boards. The state's Department of Health is the correct regulatory authority. State health departments already possess the specialized inspector workforce to manage similar high-risk personal service sectors, like commercial food service and tattooing. By issuing a targeted, safety-based professional license in a matter of weeks, the state guarantees public health. It achieves its legal mandate without stifling economic mobility or dictating changing fashion trends. Technical proficiency, speed, and efficiency are not learned in a classroom. They are forged in the real-world environment of a commercial salon. This brings us to Phase 2 of the redesign, overseen by the federal government.
Once the candidate holds their state-issued safety license, all remaining technical skill development moves into the U.S. Department of Labor's Registered Apprenticeship Program. The immediate legal benefit of this program is compliance.
Under the registered apprenticeship model, the trainee is classified as a W-2 employee from day one. They earn a wage, instantly resolving the FLSA conflict over uncompensated labor. The wage progression structure creates a performance-based incentive system. At entry, apprentices perform basic low-risk tasks and earn 50% of a journey worker's wage. As they demonstrate mastery of core services like cutting and coloring, pay scales up to 100%. Training under a licensed, experienced journey worker provides direct one-on-one supervision. This is a vastly superior learning environment compared to a single instructor trying to oversee 20 students on a crowded school clinic floor. This structure gives small business salon owners the direct ability to incubate and retain talent tailored to their exact market needs. Shifting technical instruction to a paid apprenticeship model removes the sector's reliance on high-interest federal student loans. The financial burden of vocational training is transferred to market-driven wages. Zooming out, this policy redesign creates a massive shift in the local economy and the state's tax base. This chart compares a linear tuition versus a compounding earning model. Traditionally, students pay up to $25,000, earn zero wages for a year, and delay tax contributions. Proposed, students pay under $5,000, earn up to $25,000 in apprentice wages, and generate taxes immediately. Graduates who enter the workforce without crippling debt demonstrate significantly higher rates of salon ownership and entrepreneurship, simply because their early profits aren't consumed by loan repayments. For state governments, transitioning just a fraction of the beauty workforce to this debt-free model yields millions of dollars in avoided federal student subsidies and generates hundreds of thousands in new, immediate tax revenues. There is an alternative path for institutions operating at the community level. If a beauty school refuses to pay wages but wants to remain in the education space, federal law provides only one legal route. They must adopt a strictly non-productive public service model. The Louisville Beauty Academy and its Harbor House campus provides the active proof of concept for this approach. Under their model, 100% of all clinical services, every haircut, manicure, and skincare treatment, are provided completely free of charge to elderly and disabled populations. By removing all commercial revenue, the school extracts zero immediate advantage from the student's labor. This completely protects the student's legal status as a pure learner under the Fair Labor Standards Act. We must abolish the practice of extracting unpaid student labor in revenue-generating environments and dismantle the arbitrary 1,500-hour barriers that protect it. By adopting this two-phase architecture, policymakers resolve the fundamental conflict with federal labor law while focusing state authority on genuine biological risks. This replaces an unstable, debt-driven training cycle with a model that prioritizes immediate earnings and a direct path to professional ownership.